It certainly looks like it, but we don't know exactly what mainstream means. This might be the beginning of the end of a whole currency and a reserve system that we've been living with, half-heartedly, for a long time, especially since World War II.
Hmm.
So no, it's. I think the mainstream is getting noticed. They're noticing this, but it's unknown. I can recall not too many years ago, though, the gold went up a bit. Then it went down to $1,000, and in 1916, I think it was looking like to me. I thought it was 2016, and I thought we were going into another bull market.
Hmm.
Even though I've watched this since gold was $35 an ounce, it still is sort of shocking. Even though I think, well, why should you be shocked? I'm not shocked, but to talk about $3,000 an ounce of gold when I hold up my gold pieces I bought, for about $40 or so, it's just amazing.
Hmm.
Even though those predictions were available to. As a matter of fact, I got involved when I ran across some Austrian economists who were writing about this in the 1960s, and they predicted that Bretton Woods agreement would break down.
Hmm.
We're wasting and spending too much money and giving it away. And sure enough, that is what happened. And that was a big date in my understanding of 1971 in August that, the gold window was closed. And look at what's happened since then.
Yeah.
I think it's going to continue. And the longer it continues, the more people will be joining us. Well, I think that nobody knows exactly because
Hmm.
sometimes I think, well, this is the takeoff forever, and we're going to have, Zimbabwe and have Venezuela, and it doesn't happen. And I think that because there's a subjective element in there. But what I look at, if I wonder, well, let's say next month we have a correction that is far beyond than the people who thought the bulls on this is going up forever and the dollar's going to zero and all of this, and then they may be shocked. But I think that could happen, but it's totally unknown. But the thing that I watch to find out when I think, well, maybe it is going to end or something, I look at deficit financing. I think that is the biggest thing. The supply of money and the supply of credit for our evil foreign policy and our wicked domestic policy, our welfare state, and all the special interests that go, and the people demanding more and more. We make an effort, and Trump's trying to make an effort. He's getting a lot of grief over that, of cutting
Hmm.
anything. So, yeah, Leonard Reed, a favorite of mine in the past, he says, everybody wants to balance the budget, but they all have a but. And,
Yeah.
uh, and that's what we're seeing now. There's a lot of buts out there,
Yeah.
and they're going to rally together. So that makes it more difficult. But the deficit is the ultimate tool. And even though Barry Goldwater and the rest talked about this, no calamity occurred, but the handwriting on the wall occurred in August 15th, 1971, and it's been there, and the handwriting is getting bigger and bigger because how much longer can the whole system tolerate $36 trillion of debt?
Yeah.
And this, even with this serious effort to cut back, I'm not expecting miracles to come up with a balanced budget next year.
Hmm.
They're all a risk because they aren't part of our supposedly tradition. They're not part of our constitution. But right now, the big ones, the Middle East, are coming up with these assumptions. Oh, well, I think what we ought to do is just take over Greenland. You
Hmm.
know, there's a limit to that, but that could lead to problems too. But I think right now, Yemen and Iran, the way we're
Hmm.
treating them, and yet that doesn't sound to me like we're stopping wars and getting and not starting any new ones. We are aggravating. I think we have a terrible policy with the Iranians. They're not. They're not going to be perfect citizens, according to a lot of Americans. But I tell you what, I think that I happen to believe the issue because of the investigations that are going in. I think that they have the brains not to have a nuclear weapon over there.
Mhm.
And yet,
Mhm.
that's what we dwell on, and that's what we concentrate on. And I don't like the warnings that are going on and the advisors that are giving the president advice right now, especially in the area of Yemen and the Middle East, as well as Iran. Well, the economy I like is what we refer to as a non-interventionist economy
Mhm.
and a laissez-faire, as far as I'm concerned. But once they start manipulating and they believe in interventionism, both major parties and most people believe in some interventionism. But that I worry about that because that's endorsing the principle. So if you introduce the principle of a little bit of inflation, a little bit of a dilution away from the definition of your currency, it leads to big trouble. How about a small little income tax? Oh, 1, 2, 3%, no big deal, and it just grows and grows. So it's the principle that we accept, and we accept the idea of interventionism, and therefore all of a sudden, I imagine there's a level of tariffs, competition that you could get by with for a while, but eventually people depend on it. They want to cover their bases, and then we hear stories. Well, we're going to collect a lot of money here, on tariffs, and maybe we can get rid of the income tax. I
Mhm.
don't. I don't happen to believe that. That's that's
Mhm.
that's not going to happen because they're not stopping the spending. The people want spending. The special interests want the spending. The military-industrial complex, the pharmaceutical industry, the recipients of Social Security. It's on and on. So the odds of that being cut back are very slim. Although I give a lot of credit to the group now trying to cut back
Mhm.
because the information we've gotten about USAID, it's fantastic. It's waking up some people, but it's not the solution. We
Mhm.
have to not tinker around the edges, and we have to do it now. Right away, there's tremendous resistance to the effort made in the last 6 months. So
Mhm.
I think we have a long way to go, and it's not going to do it because I work on the assumption that all the debt and all the malinvestment eventually has to be liquidated because it's all fake. And you can't just pile debt on debt. But not too many people talk about malinvestment. The debt goes up and is spent in the wrong way, and it introduces all these government programs. But there's also people who just inadvertently, the interest rates are 4%. They're not 6% anymore. Oh, it's a good time to invest. Well,
Mhm.
that's false information. So that's how you get your bubbles. And I think the system is built in, and we've gotten away with it by covering it over these bubbles that want to clear the area to to close, cover them with more inflation.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't lower the interest rates quite enough. So they just go on and on with intervention. The principle is interventionism, and the opposite to that is non intervention. And we don't want authoritarians tell us how to live.
If you found this breakdown helpful, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. There's a lot more coming. Stay informed, stay prepared.